What's Gucci, my Phenom family? Hope you're feeling absolutely freak phenomenal. My name, of course, is Eddie, guys. In today's video, we will be doing my first technical blackout setup here on the channel. I'm just hoping anyone watching this video enjoys it just as much as I know he is. Now, all the parts in this video will be displayed right now on screen, but I'm gonna do my best to also try to get you guys some links for the description down below if you like this build. Now, to start off, I like to prep everything on the motherboard before I actually merge it inside the actual case. And in this case, we're going to be going ahead to start off with a Strix B550 board. Now, keep in mind that this board is not Wi-Fi enabled, but you can always pick up a Wi-Fi card or just do what every pro gamer does and just go ahead and plug it directly into your LAN. Now, being that this is an AMD board, we're going to go ahead and remove these standoffs as we won't be using the included Wraith cooler that came with his CPU. Instead, later we will be installing an NZXT liquid cooler. A normal Phillips head screwdriver will do just fine. Okay, for his CPU, he decided to go with the Ryzen 5 3600X. Now, first up, you want to go ahead and just lift up this little hinge, and then you just want to go ahead and line up the arrow in the corner of the CPU to match up with the little arrow on the actual motherboard. And from there, it should just drop right in. Now, do not push this down with your fingers because it should just fall right into place. Okay, so moving on to our boot drive, we're going to be going with the XPG SX8 200 Pro. This is a great M.2. I have one in my laptop as well as in my personal build. Okay, so we're going to be installing this in the M.2 slot under the metal plate, which is located under the CPU. It's just 2 screws, but keep in mind that this screwdriver is actually just a little bit smaller, and you're going to want to go ahead and grab the standoffs that should come included with your motherboard. Now, once installed, you're going to go ahead and remove the plastic stripping from the back of the metal plate. This should now expose the thermal compound paste that will now conduct the heat evenly from the actual SSD. And just go ahead and reinstall that plate. Now, for our RAM, we went with 16 gigs of G.Skill rip jaws. Now, these things are very solid, and they're also clocked at 3600 megahertz. Now, if you only have 2 sticks of RAM, don't worry. All you have to do is just open up slots 2 and 4. These are going to have the higher frequencies for this motherboard and give you the best channels for power. And all you have to do is just line up that little notch on the actual motherboard with the RAM and then just click them right in. For the case of choice, he went with the Corsair 275R airflow case. Now, this thing is a pretty solid case offering good design qualities, that tempered glass side panel as well as slot cutouts in the front, so your fans mounted in the front can get some great airflow coming right through. Now, all you want to pretty much do is remove all the panels going around the entire case. From there, we're going to take our pre-built motherboard and just merge it with the case. Now, make sure you're lining up that IO shield backplate with the open cutout in the back of the actual case. Now, once it's in there nice and snug, use the included screws that come with your case and actually start screwing in your motherboard. Now, this case does in fact come with 3 included fans, but he wanted me to go ahead and install these 3 Corsair ML120 fans, and these are not entirely blacked out. They do give a little bit of color with the gray, but they do have good airflow. So go ahead and take those included screws that came with your fans and just install them in the front 3. Next up, we have the Kraken X53. This is a liquid cooler from NZXT, and this is something that I can highly recommend, as I do have the upgraded model of this particular cooler, and this was also a previous cooler I had in a different build at one point. We're going to be using the included fans on this particular cooler, so once again, just go ahead and use the included screws that come with the actual cooler. Now, we're going to be going for a top mounted setup. Now, don't forget, all of these coolers tend to come with the Intel mount already installed, so just go and grab that AMD one and swap it out. Also, do not forget that original backplate that came with your motherboard. take that back plate, make sure it's lined up properly, and then take your mount and then just get everything nice and secure and tight. Once everything is lined up properly, just start using those thumb screws and making sure everything is nice and snug. Now for our graphics card, we are using the MSI 1660 Super. Now start off by removing the top two plates that are in the back. Undo that little clip on the top PCIe slot and then go ahead and install your actual GPU. And with those existing screws, don't forget to tighten in and fasten your GPU. Now of course, last but very much not least, in order to power everything, we're going to be using the Corsair RM 75 watt power supply. And this bad boy's pretty beefy for this setup, but it's going to give him some future proofing for when he wants to upgrade down the line. Go ahead and just find that cutout for where your power supply will sit. Now, there's also going to be a little mesh kind of cutout that's inside this particular case that faces up. Just make sure that your fan is facing that direction. Otherwise, you will in fact have some heating issues later on. Now, unfortunately, this is the part of the video that I do not have, and that is wiring everything up. I had a whole thing planned for that, and this was the one thing that the camera actually died during the process, so I am not going to be showing you that in this particular video, but will go out of my way to make sure that you guys get that information. So I'll link some other videos that could probably walk you through this step, probably a lot better than I can anyway. All in all, everything runs smoothly. We got it to post. We also installed a 2 terabyte hard drive in this. I just want to point that out for his Steam games and things like that. So again, this has been my attempt on a first time blackout setup. Now I know we got a couple lights in there, but still, this is the darkest setup I've ever done here on the channel, let alone probably in my entire life. So of course, without further ado guys, I appreciate you for watching this video, and I will see you, yes you, in the next one. Peace.